Very well. It is 10:30, and I would like to call to order the September meeting for the Iowa Interoperability Communication Systems Board. Holly, if you could please call roll.
Luke Erpelding,
Luke Erpelding, representing Communication Centers.
Mindy Benson,
Mindy Benson, present, representing Iowa Emergency Management Association.
Curtis Woden,
Present, representing EMS.
Michelle Bischoff,
Present, representing fire departments.
Michael Kobe,
Present remotely, representing local law enforcement.
Jeff Vandewater,
Present, representing sheriff's offices.
Patrick Updike,
Patrick Updike, present, member at large.
and do we have any legislative members on? We do have a quorum.
Thank you all for attending this month's meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve today's agenda.
Erpelding, a motion.
Second,
Colby will second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of the minutes from the August 14th meeting. I would entertain a motion.
Benson will make that motion.
Second,
Colby.
I have a motion and a second for the approval of the meeting minutes from August 14th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That brings us to the SWIC report. SWIC Nichols.
Thank you, Chair Bischoff. Good morning, everyone. I would just like to remind everyone that we do have the COM-L scheduled this month. That's Communication Unit Leader course that'll be held in Council Bluffs starting September 22nd. That course is also going to train COM-L instructors. And one of those instructors will be for the state of Iowa. And then we have a couple other joining from neighboring states. So that will be very beneficial to our state and our ability to hold future courses. The NICSWIC community as a whole has been holding regular virtual meetings since we're not able to attend our bi-yearly in-person meetings. And just for your awareness, we're trying to keep updated each other with what's going on and how we can continue to keep these trainings going, share instructors, for instance. And also, there's been a lot of talk about new technologies. And one of them I wanted to make you aware of is tac.gov, that some SWICs are very excited about and implementing for different things. The reason I'm bringing it up today is because I've seen some applications that remind me of it that are out there. And so if you see other vendors coming around that have new technologies for interoperability, there's a lot of stuff that's coming out. And many of these can be very helpful. And so I may have contacts or other people across the nation or regionally that have utilized some of these, and I can reach out and see if anybody has information and that can show you what they do or tell you what they found out about them, and if that would help anybody who's thinking about using one of these things, whatever that happens to be. I have a positive update on the IMED or REMCDP project. We asked for a 6-month extension because that grant ends in September here, and we received that. So now the grant is extended through March of 2026. The funds are still paused. And then just a reminder for everyone that we need the committee members for Isicsb boards and committees, not boards, I'm sorry, just the committees and all of the committees to reapply through that JOT form that's online. And if you sit on more than one committee, please fill out the JOT form more than one time. If you're interested in joining a committee and you don't currently sit on one, please fill that out. We're taking those through November, and then at the January meeting, this board will approve new members. And that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Swick Nichols. I appreciate the update. Are there any questions for Haley? Moving to the 911 Council report, Program Manager Darushi.
Pretty quick update for you today. For those that aren't aware, we are in the process of moving our two in-state data centers. They are both closing independently of each other. And obviously that's a pretty heavy lift. Just today, we sent out an email to PSAPs as well as their call handling vendors that we are holding informational technical webinars the 23rd and the 25th. They're identical webinars, just need to attend one. On what will need to happen within the call handling systems in order to connect to those two new data centers. So if you're interested in such topics and you didn't receive the email, maybe just get in touch with me, 911@iowa.gov, and I'll make sure to get you that contact info or the webinar information. But really, that was about the only thing of significance today during our 911 council meeting. I would take any questions.
Great. Thank you, Blake. Are there any questions for
Thanks.
Program Manager Darushi? That brings us to our user group committee. Chair Vandewater.
Thank you. The users group met on August 21st. We had 11 members present and 2 visitors as representatives of the applicants. We had just a little discussion on a sheer number of radios for Cedar County that we'll review later. Little to no discussion for the Mercy One DeWitt application. We also reviewed 3.3.0, and after discussion, a motion was put forward to put 3.3.0 up for a 30-day comment period. That concludes my report. I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Sheriff. Are there any questions for the user group and Chair Vandewater? That brings us to the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee did meet this week. Holly, if you could put the report on the screen, that would be beneficial. We did review the records, and there were no anomalies. The $294 that you see down there for equipment/software, that is the fee for JotForm, and all of the other expenditures are in line with our normal spending. The last fiscal year had one item still processed through it, journal entries to square things up. So the last fiscal year should be closing here shortly, but all is in order and as expected. Are there any questions regarding the finance report? Hearing none, moving to the Governance Committee. Chair Colby.
Morning all. We did not meet last month. Our regular scheduled meeting date would have been on Labor Day. However, I'll remind the group that we, at our last meeting, we did put 2015-02.G up for 30-day comment period in that 30 days because the shortened month has not expired until the 13th of this month. So we plan on having that in front of the board at next month's meeting for approval with no changes from our last discussion on it in August. Other than that, that is all I have to update on.
Great. Thank you, Chief. Are there any questions for the governance, excuse me, for the Governance Committee and Chair Colby? That brings us to our Operations Committee. Chair Erpelding.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. Operations Committee met last Wednesday, September 3rd. We only had one new item on the agenda, and that was the update defining an encryption key compromise. Standard 2.12.4. We had a few grammatical updates. Other than that, the standard was approved and put back in with very few revisions. And that was our only item on for new business, and no other business was conducted. So that concludes my report for today.
Great. Thank you, Luke. Are there any questions for the Operations Committee and Chair Erpelding? That brings us to the Training and Outreach Committee. Chair Wooten.
Thank you, Chair. Nothing significant to report other than we started looking into the new user onboarding, and we'll continue with that.
Great. Thank you, Curtis. Are there any questions for the Training and Outreach Committee? Technology Committee, Chair Updike.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So technology met on September 4th, and we did a review of standard 1.7.0, which is minimum programming requirements. We did delete some of the wording and add a few words, and as you can see later in the agenda, that's going to go up for hopefully 30-day comment. Additionally, we spent time looking at the 11 frequencies in the 800 megahertz band for scene of action type use. We're proposing some of the following things: putting both digital and analog emission designators on these frequencies, analog in P25, that is. We've also proposed CPCSS tones, a tone of 156.7 at least on the receive side, and your standard 293 F7E NAC codes for the digital side. And then included in that is how to name the channels. So right now we've just come up with an 8 IA SOA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 type naming convention. This is just proposed. I'm not going to say we're going to land on that naming convention, but we still have a lot of discussions to be had before we start asking for licensing on these frequencies. So we'll keep you updated on that, and that's all I have for you today.
Great. Thank you, Patrick. Are there any questions for the Technology Committee and Chair Updike? FirstNet Broadband Subcommittee, Chair Benson.
Thank you, Chair Bischoff. We met on Tuesday of this week, and we had a normal business meeting. We did have a presentation from Intrepid Networks, which is a add-on to your normal dispatching software. But Intrepid is like it wasn't something I was familiar with, but it sounds like they use it in other states and counties. It's like a push-to-talk communication system. They do incident action planning. They have ICS reports and things like that, emergency notifications, integrated things that can integrated mapping and items such as that. So it was a very informative presentation. It was brought to us by Bart Blank. We're going to have presentations like that in our future meetings. It's also a reminder that if people want to be in our meetings and be on our members of our meetings, please fill out that. Sorry, I just totally had a brain fart there. Be involved in our meetings to please fill out that network survey, and we will get you involved with that. But other than that, we will have recaps from our AT&T partners a little bit later on in our meeting here. Take any questions if there are any.
Great. Thank you, Mindy.
Thank you.
Are there any questions regarding the FirstNet Broadband Subcommittee for Chair Benson? That brings us to other reports and information sharing among board members. Are there any board members that have information that they'd like to share amongst the board? Hearing none, we'll move on to the Isicsb System Administrator report. Scott Richardson.
Thank you, Chair. I will begin with Isicsb maintenance. The annual RF preventative maintenance continues. We have 5 more sites planned starting later this month, and 24 of the state-owned sites have now been completed, and more to follow. The Isicsb core-related microwave issues that caused intermittent console connection drops in July has now remained stable after the bandwidth remedy was implemented, and no further console connection issues have occurred, thankfully. In late August, we had some generator propane piping work done at various Isicsb sites, after which then we identified some minor propane leaks, and those propane leaks have now been resolved. All sites should be good for propane piping. The lightning strike damage that was affected the Brooklyn site has been repaired with replacement of microwave ODUs. However, we are awaiting a tower beacon light replacement for that site. On the Adair South replacement tower that has been constructed and is currently awaiting microwave dish installation with a targeted completion date in mid-October for that tower. And then finally, quarterly Isicsb core security patching will occur Monday and Tuesday of next week, with zone controller rollovers set for Tuesday at 12:40 and 4:30 p.m. The zone controller rolls will produce a brief drop in connectivity for core connected consoles and also a brief site trunking event for RF sites. But we've been through that several times. Most people should be familiar with that. Beyond that, I've got numbers for August. Radios currently stand at 46,633. Groups are at 3,637. And last month we had 3.4 million push to talks. And with that, that concludes my report.
Great.
Wave going down.
Thank you, Scott. Are there any questions for the system admins? That brings us to the First Net Authority, Tom Lampy.
I'm driving. Can you hear me okay? If I lose signal, that's why. Can you hear me okay right now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So since the last meeting, I'm happy to report when we talked about the survey tool that was sent out, I've got several more, and that's a good thing. And going through each and every one of them. So continue to use that if you find areas that you feel that public safety needs better coverage. Got some new ones on there. Some are longer than others, and some are maybe we drop a call here and there. But I look at every single one of them, and then may even contact the person that submitted it to discuss more in depth on that. The second thing I wanted to just talk about was I heard Haley earlier, the SWIC say about DETAC.gov and all these new applications that are coming out. I just left Indianapolis with the FirstNet Vision Summit, where we've seen a bunch of other stuff that's coming out, and she's completely spot on. There's a lot of new stuff coming out, a lot of new applications, a lot of new apps. Mindy mentioned the Intrepid app. You got to remember, those are all applications that require a network, and all those applications require and use data, and some of them use a lot of data. And some of, when you use those applications, most of the time on a day-to-day basis, you're probably going to be fine no matter what network you're on. As long as you got good signal, coverage is king. We all know that. But you got to remember, when those applications are really designed for is disasters like in football games where large crowds go and you're more apt to have something happening. You tracking people, you need mapping, you need cameras, all that stuff that consumes data, and you need that priority and preemption during those times because the networks are going to be congested, which is why the network was built in the first place, is so we can give public safety that guaranteed priority and preemption, especially with all the new apps that are coming out and your push to talk applications that work within those apps. You don't have a signal, there's one thing, but if you can't get through on a channel, is another. So that's what we teach, and we teach at the broadband subcommittee a lot of that stuff, and we're going to continue to teach that and reiterate that a network is very, very important when you start using that kind of stuff. Like I said, coverage is one thing, but congestion is another. So with that, we continue to do the coverage workshops. You'll probably see another round of these. We promise this is not a one and done, and it is not. It's continually evolving. As money comes in for reinvestment, we continue to do the coverage workshops. And where do you need it? And I'm the guy you go to if you have any issues at all, either with our provider or the network itself. But pay special attention, as, and Bart may expand on this, they're upgrading the network all the time. They're converting it to 5G. They're putting new antennas on the towers. If you notice anything that's different, like that was good before, and maybe it's not as good, let us know that. More times than not, some of it points back to the equipment that you have is not really happy with the new stuff, and we can work you through that. So with that, that's my report. If you got any questions, call me, or I can take them right now.
Very well. Thank you, Tom. Are there any questions for the FirstNet Authority? Hearing none, we'll move on to the AT&T update. Bart Blank. Is Bart on the line, or any representative from AT&T? All right, hearing none, we will move on with our CISA update. And Chris Myers.
Thank you, Chair Bischoff, and good morning to the Isicsb board. I appreciate the time to speak, as always. First item to cover this month is really a two-part delivery from CISA that's available to a broad audience. And it focuses on software acquisition for government. There have been previous versions of this that have been released that have been focused on industry and commercial enterprises. This one is focused on government. There's a little bit of a different need and a different requirement set for government agencies. What this does is it builds on existing cybersecurity guidance to really address, 4 phases of software: the ownership, the development, practices, supply chains, deployment, vulnerability management, you name it. It's all factored into this guide. The focus here is especially put on the procurement and acquisition process, because that's where you can indicate that cybersecurity is a key consideration for your agency. Now, that's the guide itself. The guide is fairly expansive and lengthy. There was a new tool that was released that is designed to supplement and streamline navigation through that guide. It enables users to export and print customized summaries of their own responses. So as you go through the tool and you answer questions and figure out what is important to you, it will give you a summarized report. This also helps personnel within agencies facilitate collaboration with CISOs, CIOs, and other key decision makers. For a lot of government agencies, those decision makers may be at varying levels of their structure, and this is designed to facilitate that. Of course, with all this comes stronger due diligence and more secure procurement, which leads to better outcomes for government agencies. This is available for download from the shortened link you see on the bottom of the slide. Second slide for this month is another product that was recently released. This is on operational technology. Any communication system that you may own, maintain, operate, or use typically falls under operational technology. This guidance is geared towards owners and operators and provides a systematic approach for creating and maintaining an inventory and everything else associated with that. Now, having been there before, inventory is not the most favorite thing to do by personnel. And candidly, I remember many discussions where we were talking about inventories, asset tagging, and how best to do that. However, a good inventory is essential for identifying and securing critical assets. It is essential for also reducing the risk of cybersecurity incidents related to those assets, and also ensuring that you can continue to function with respect to your mission and services in the event of an incident. This inventory guidance really outlines how you can do that in a way that is as time efficient as taking an inventory possibly can be. What this does for organizations is it allows them to see how they can enhance their overall security posture, improve the maintenance and reliability of your network, especially in communications networks. You're looking at least 5 nines of reliability typically as far as the desired outcome. This helps you get there. It also works on ensuring the safety and resilience of OT environments in any operations medium, whether it's communications or other types of enterprise data systems. That is available for download via the shortened link at the bottom of the slide as well. This one is a pretty good read. It does include some things that can maybe take away some of the pain of an inventory and show the why those need to be done. Next slide. I do want to let everybody know that the technical assistance request period will be opened up October 2025 on the 1st. The previous requests from April are still eligible for resubmission. Make sure you coordinate with Haley and also Chair Bischoff on technical assistance requests you may have. From there, we can coordinate at the state to federal level and work on how those deliveries could best be taken care of. We're looking at, of course, the old standbys and governance, SOPs, technology, training and exercises and usage. But we're really looking at trying to expand the instructor cadre in states over the next couple of years to ensure that there's more capability to deliver resources and classes to states. We still have the ability to deliver some courses in a more traditional avenue with federal instructors, but given some of the changes recently, that is a little bit more difficult to accomplish. We also have the ability to do some facilitated workshops with the ECC and other ECD personnel. A lot of this comes down to a one-on-one conversation and discussion and outlining of what needs may be and how best to meet them. Of course, the ECD is still involved. We're going to coordinate very closely with you and the SWIC to make sure that deliveries go off as expected. And again, if you have any requests, make sure you get in touch with Haley and coordinate them up from the top. One thank you note to the board. We do appreciate you allowing additional instructors to be credentialed at your COML coming up in Pottawatomie County and Council Bluffs. That is appreciated by the states from which those instructor candidates are coming and the SWICs that will eventually be signing off on their instructor certification as well. Finally, regional news of note, the Red River Commune Boot Camp is still slated to take place October 12th through the 17th. Again, there'll be several courses there followed by a one-day exercise with the ability also to potentially get new instructors teaching credentials. However, the window for sign up for that is rapidly starting to close. That is my report for the month, Chair Bischoff. I can go ahead and take any questions.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Are there any questions for Chris Myers regarding the information that he presented or other items that fall with it under CISA? That brings us to new business. New Isicsb user approval. We have Cedar County Radio Governance Board at a level 1 and Mercy One Genesis DeWitt Ambulance an update for level 2. Chair Vandewater, would you like to talk to or speak to these items?
Sure, thank you. As I said earlier, the users group met on August 21st. We reviewed the 2 applications, the Cedar County Radio Governance Board at a level 1. A motion was made and seconded that the application be approved and presented to the board for board approval. So therefore, I would make a motion that the Isicsb board approve Cedar County Radio Governance Board's application as submitted for a level 1 interoperability only.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the application from Cedar County Radio Governance Board at a level 1. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Back to you, Chair Vandewater.
The second application, Mercy One Genesis DeWitt, at a level 2, it was their application. We reviewed their application. A motion was made and seconded for the users group to approve and pass on to the full board their application for approval. So I would make a motion also for Mercy One Genesis DeWitt ambulance at a level 2. I would make a motion that the board approve their application as submitted.
Is there a second?
Colby will second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of Mercy One Genesis DeWitt ambulance at a level 2. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
That brings us to the approval of the 30-day comment period on Isicsb Standard 1.7.0, minimum programming requirements. Swick Nichols, do you have any comments regarding this item?
Not necessarily. We did take out some minor language. We added in a couple of things here. I can read it if you'd like.
I don't think that's necessary. Just that the highlights of what's changed should be sufficient. With it going out for a 30-day comment period, there'll be ample time to read and comment.
Yeah, so it's just talking about why the need to have minimum programming as listed, the interoperability talk groups, and why you want your neighboring regions in, and also the 217A, and why we really strongly request that all Isicsb approved users put these documents in, and then these two capabilities kind of highlight the reasons. We're just drilling down on the reasons why.
Very well. Are there other updates to it, or is that the only section that's been touched?
I think maybe we took something out. If that part she just scrolled, I think, was just a restating of it in a different manner. And then here is the part. Upon completion of programming of the entity subscriber equipment and consoles, the entity will notify the SWIC that the programming has been completed, and then the SWIC will double check and keep a list of the fact that these agencies have done the minimum programming requirements. So that checking and making sure the policy police isn't done. And so after discussion, it was decided to just take this out and keep our standard as this is the standard we want you to maintain, but we're not going out and checking in on your radios or anything like that.
And does that wrap up the
Yes.
highlights of the changes? Okay,
That's it.
very well. Very well, thank you. With that explanation, I would entertain a motion to approve a 30-day comment period on Isicsb Standard 1.7.0, minimum programming requirements.
Colby will make the motion.
Benson will make that motion.
Okay, I heard Colby with the motion. Benson, if
Benson
it's
will
all right.
second.
Second, very well. So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of opening the 30-day comment period, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to our second 30-day comment period for Isicsb Standard 3.3.0, radio ID and talk group allocation. Swick Nichols for the highlights.
We just made some updates, but because we took out a couple of sentences, every dispatch console will also use radio ID for different talk groups. It's not exactly correct. If you scroll down, Holly, we added in some caveats about actual numbers There are some numbers listed in the standard, so we had to specify a couple of different limits that belong to the system based on system admins. This is really for subsystem admins. So there's those specifics. And then through this standard, it said that that the application would be approved by the user group committee. We went through and changed that to the Isicsb. Obviously, the user group committee looks over all applications and plans and then moves it on to the Isicsb board. But through the process, the Isicsb board obviously has to have the final approval for all plans. So we just changed that language throughout. So because the actual approval comes from the board, and those are the changes.
Very well, thank you for that summary. I would entertain a motion to approve a 30-day comment period on Isicsb Standard 3.3.0 radio ID and talk group allocation.
Erpelding will make a motion.
And a second?
Vandy Water, second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to public comment. Are there any members of the public that would like to address the board?
Yes, Chair Bishop, I have one thing. We would like to welcome our newest appointed representative, Jurdy. He has joined us in person here today.
Oh, very well. Welcome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or any other members of the public wanting to address the board? With that, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Colby will motion.
Second?
Benson will second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? We sit adjourned. Thank you all for your time.